Hey guys, welcome to the round 3 summary video from the 2020 Morelands Motocross Under the Lights series. So round 3 was the first time I got to race my new bike and see what it was capable of, and I think it's safe to say that it was a necessary upgrade to elevate my riding. I felt like a different rider, I felt like a better rider, and I just felt more confident with the new machine. So as you can tell, I got the graphics put on. I should be having a video coming out soon. I just haven't had time to do that yet, as we actually installed the graphics the day before the race. So my practice session before the race was my very first time riding with the graphics. But I'm really happy with how the bike turned out. I'll go ahead and put some pictures up. Probably the best kit I've designed so far, and I'm just super stoked with how it turned out. So before I get into each individual moto, I wanted to talk to you guys briefly about something that happened at the previous round and how that relates to this round. If you guys remember, in 250A Moto 1 of round 2, I came together with another rider and we both hit the ground. He was actually at this round 3 and I was able to talk to him a little bit before the races started. And I wouldn't say we're on the same page with the incident, but we were able to agree to race clean, which is what I really wanted. So we agreed to race clean, we fist bumped, and we were all cool, which I was happy to get that resolved because I didn't want to have any incidents in the races. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop right into the race summaries. So once again this week I was race number 1. I'm not sure if they're going to make this a habit, but honestly I'm okay with it if they do. 250A and 250B were Moto 1 again, and then 14 Plus was actually race number 4. So it was almost like round 1 again, where I didn't really have a gap or a break. Except there was one extra race where I could just sit down and drink some water, but then I had to go back out to the track. But it was actually nice because I was able to leave pretty early on in the evening. So 250A started off. I got an okay start. It wasn't the greatest. I hadn't done any practice starts with the new bikes. The clutch was just a little bit different, but I was still pretty happy with how I came out. I was right around 4th or 5th, I think, coming into the corner, but then I snuck around to the inside like I normally do, and I actually came out 2nd. And if you guys watch closely, you'll notice that 2 riders got together over the finish line and actually almost hit my wife Natalie on the side of the track as she was trying to get pictures, so she had to take evasive maneuvers to avoid that. But then I was actually able to make the pass for the lead soon thereafter. The guy in front of me was Zachary Mazareg, I believe is how you pronounce his name. And he took an outside, and I was just able to skirt around the inside and take the lead away. And in the process of that, it allowed another 250A rider to get by, which was actually the guy that I had talked to. So he was right behind me for pretty much the rest of the race. I put my head down. I noticed that it was him behind me, and I knew he was pretty quick, so I wanted to put my head down and just keep charging. And I was able to do that, put in some really smooth, clean laps. So I was really happy with how I rode and was able to bring home the win in that. It was really nice to get the first one out of the way on the bike, and it just lifted me right up and got my confidence back to where I wanted it, and that really set the tone for the rest of the night. So in 14 Plus there was only 3 other riders, 4 total. There was me, Adam Crane, a Open B rider, and then a Open D rider. So I knew I was faster than Adam, and I kind of figured I'd be a little bit quicker than the D rider. But the Open B rider, I noticed that he was moving around. He was going pretty quick in practice. So I actually ended up lining up either right next to him or really close to him. And he was on a 450, so he got the whole shot. He got out in front of me, but I was able to start 2nd again. I was actually really happy with my starts on the new bike. But then I was actually able to get around him in the exact same spot that I got around Zach in the 250A Moto 1. I'm not sure what it seemed to be like. That was the passing spot. Everyone wanted to hit that berm, and I just snuck around the inside. So I got into the lead right away. I was just a little gassed, a little out of breath because I had just raced. So I didn't go all out, but I rode just enough to make sure I kept him behind me. Just tried to keep it nice and smooth and hit my marks. And it worked out. I was able to take home another win. So I was on a real high after that. I won my first 2 races on my new bike. So then I had a really long break into my next moto because there's like over 20 races, and I was race 1 and race 4. So I went back to the pits. I tinkered with some things on the bike, just making sure that the fork pressure was good, and a few other miscellaneous things. But by the time it finally was time to go out for my second moto of 258, it had become dark. There was a few medicals in between, and it really slowed down their program, so it was actually really dark by the time we got around to my second motos. So my 258 Moto 2 start was probably my worst start. I actually wheelied out of the gate. I really should look into getting a whole shot device. But I wheelied out of the gate, still ended up in okay position, but I was further back than I was in the first moto. There was two riders in front of me. One of them was the guy in the Cowie who I was battling with, or racing against in the first moto, and that I talked to earlier in the day. And then the other rider was Danny Warren, who is a 250B rider, a very quick 250B rider, I might add. And then actually behind me was that Zachary Mazurek guy, who also was a 250B rider, but he was going really quick in that second moto, was keeping up with us. So there's the four of us really that kind of broke away. It was actually really fun to watch the Cowie guy and Danny battle in front of me. They were going back and forth. It was really entertaining. But then the Cowie got by Danny, and so then I was like, all right, it's go time. I need to make this move. And Danny, I talked to him a little bit before the motos, and a really nice guy. I'm pretty sure he let me go by. He put his hand up over a jump and then laid up and let me go around the outside. I think he knew that there was two A riders and he was the B rider, so he didn't really want to get in between that too much. So I ended up right back on the back end of the Cowie there, and at this point I was like, all right, I need to do this. I need to make this pass for the overall. And so I stuck right on him, and lo and behold, I made the pass in the exact same spot. I made the other two passes in the other two motos. That was just my spot. I made the pass there, was able, the corner right after that, the big bowl corner, was really dark. I actually couldn't even see the lines. I just kind of rode it and hoped that it stuck. He did try to get me back in the corner after that, but just the way that it kind of narrowed in, it wasn't really a good spot to pass. So he actually lost some time by trying to do that, and so by that point I was just able to continue hitting my marks, and I was able to bring it home. That was probably the moto that I was most proud of my riding, because I stuck behind those guys, was patient, but then made the move when it really counted. So I was really happy after that moto. So then we had one moto left, 14 plus Moto 2. We got a similar start to the first 14 plus moto. It was me and the other guy, number 630 on the Suzuki, out front. And guess what? I made the pass in the same exact spot as I did the other three motos. So I don't know what it was, but that was my spot. People just kept going to the outside, and I just snuck right around the inside. So I made the pass, and I think either the second or third lap, he actually ended up going down in the sand corner. And I didn't realize it at first, but then I looked behind me a few times. I was like, there's nobody there. And if I probably put it up on the screen, I had a gigantic gap. There was 14 plus in a few other classes, but I think they were all plus classes if I'm not mistaken. So the next guy behind me was either like a 25 or 35 plus rider, and I was just gone. I had charged so much in the beginning, just knowing that 630 was behind me, but then when he crashed, I just had this giant gap. So once we got to the last lap, I just kind of started having fun, threw a little style over the triple, and did a couple wheelies, but I was just messing around, not taking any unnecessary risks. So I think safe to say after round 3, I am pretty happy with how the bike is and how it's performing and how I'm riding, and I'm just ready to go again. I'm ready for round 4 and to go ride it again. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Please leave a like, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.